What's up, everyone, and welcome to a new series. If you're familiar with me or anything I do on this channel or the work I do over on Saturday Night Special on Renovision, you know we do a segment called Best and Worst Covers of the Week. Well, I figured why not take that one step further and give you guys, the comic book enthusiasts, a little bit of extra content weekly. So I'm branching that segment out and bringing it over to my channel, and I'm going to go through the best and worst covers of the week by publisher for you. Now, there's a couple of rules. I wouldn't say rules, but a couple stipulations here. So I'm going to do Marvel, DC, and Independence all together. We're going to go through the covers that are coming out per book. Now, if it's a book that's only got like 2 or 3 covers coming out, I think it's kind of hard to pick the best and worst. It's not really fair. So those won't be covered. They might be covered in maybe say an honorable mention section or something like that. So we're going to try to release these videos every Monday night. I know this one's kind of a late upload just because I was having internet issues and I had an internet outage for an entire day. So I'm kind of behind the 8 ball on this first one, but hopefully moving forward, that won't be the case. So let's get into this and let's kick it off with the best and worst covers of the week. And kicking us off is DC. All right, first up on DC, we have Batman 158, the kickoff of Hush 2. Now, a lot of your comic shops are probably doing an hour early release for this on a Tuesday night where you get, I think it's 158, and then you get 159 Ashcan with it if you do the early release. But still, we're going to go through this here. We have our A cover. We have a Jim Lee B cover here, a Jim Lee C connecting cover, and then we have a J. Scott Campbell D cover. All these covers are nice. I do like the Jim Lee covers both a lot. I feel like the A cover is nice, but it is very overused. And you'll see in this, like, DC's rehashing it to make it a virgin, a, foil, and whatever. So it does make a repeat in this a lot, but I do like this J. Scott Campbell here. It almost made my vote for top of the week, but it felt a little Rob Liefeldy to me, with the Joker's skull or floating face here in the sky, and then just random head right here. So I just didn't put it on my best covers of the week, but it is one of the Batman Hush covers that I really do like. We have more here. We have this Gabriel Del Otto connecting variant, which I think is very beautiful. We have a Dan Mora F variant. We have the Tony S. Daniels courtside variant. And then, of course, which is becoming very common with these books, we have our blank cover. You also have, like I said before, a Jim Lee foil virgin variant for the I cover, a Jim Lee connecting gatefold virgin variant. So like I said, that A cover is very overused, so I didn't want to put that as my best or worst cover of the week. Then we have the Sean Murphy DC Showcase wraparound foil variant. This almost made my worst covers just because Hush looks cool on the cover, but the Batman's a little wonky. The Catwoman's ears are a little wonky as well. And I'm not very fond of Superman's kind of like constipation face up there at the top, if you will, but it's still not a terrible cover. Then we have the Launch Party H2SH bat symbol logo glow in the dark foil virgin variant. I'm not a fan of this. It's very simple, and I feel like these glow in the dark variants are very gimmicky. At what point are you going to be reading a comic book in the dark to make glow in the dark something that's even worth it? And I know people go crazy for the foil variants and all that, but this glow in the dark foil virgin variant just screams laziness to me, when I feel like you could have given another artist a job and actually had a nice Launch Party variant. You could have had any of these other variants be a Launch Party variant that actually got people excited, instead of a glow in the dark cover that either isn't going to work, is going to wear off in a few days, or who's reading comic books in the dark to take advantage of that. Then we have this Lee Bermejo L cover 1 in 25. We've got the incentive covers here, of course. I like this cover, other than the like constipation look on Hush here, where he's like, looks like he's dropping a deuce in the street, and Joker's like, oh my God, and Batman's like, watch out, I want to see. I'm like, the art's nice. I just think maybe the positioning could have been a little bit better. I know it's supposed to be Joker taking out Hush with the crowbar and Batman saving him, but I just think my first mind goes to, man, how much Taco Bell did he eat the night before that he's just dropping deuce in the street. It reminds me of the scene from Bridesmaids when they have that bad food and they all start pooping themselves. That's kind of what this cover reminds me of. Then we have the Simon DeMeo. I'm gonna butcher names. I apologize. I'm terrible at name pronunciation. But we have this cover M 1 in 50 Simon DeMeo variant. We have a 1 in 100 Jim Lee Virgin variant. Again, there's that A cover and a 1 in 100. I feel like you could have put a 1 in 100, used a different cover for a 1 in 100, as well as a 1 in 250 Jim Lee sketch variants. I love these Jim Lee sketch variants. I can't remember what Batman issue number it is off the top of my head, but the Batman Catwoman making out in the rain sketch variant is one of my favorites. But really, is this sketch variant of a reused A cover worth the ratio of $100 or $250? In my opinion, it's not. So my best cover of the week goes to this Gabriel Dell'Otto connecting variant. Even though it looks like Batman is totally thrusting his pelvis into the back of Catwoman's head, like trying to get her to turn around so he can show her his Batwang or show her the goods. I love the art on it. I love the way it's got that texturized background to make it look like it's on a canvas almost, with Batman in the background, and the Catwoman is perfection. So Gabriel Dell'Otto's Batman gets my best cover of the week. Vote for Batman 158. And of course, my worst cover of the week goes to this launch party H2SH bat symbol logo glow in the dark foil. Just because, like I said, I felt like for a launch party variant, it's very, I guess, yeah, I mean, it's very plain, very gimmicky. I understand people go crazy for the foil, but like I said, the glow in the dark thing to me is a little ridiculous. And who's reading comic books in the dark? Then we're going to move on to Absolute Wonder Woman number 6. It's a series that I've thoroughly enjoyed, although I kind of feel like the Absolute Wonder Woman stuff is falling off a little bit. We have our A cover. We have our Sean Murphy B cover here. Excuse me. We have our Joshua Swaby C cover. And then, of course, our Jenny Frison International Women's Day variant. All these covers are pretty nice, except I feel like the A cover is, out of all the covers, the one that's lacking quite a bit. Then we have our incentive covers. We have a 1 in 25 Dustin Nugent variant. Again, I'm sorry if I'm butchering names. And then we have the 1 in 50 Sean Murphy Virgin variant. Again, it's just really pick and choose your battles, whether you want Virgin or trade dress. But for me, the best cover of the week on this book here is this 1 in 25 Dustin Nigent variant. I love the use of young Diana. I love the use of the colors. I love the, monsters in the background, how it almost has that like watercolor feel to it. It's just the first cover that really caught my eye and made me say, this is the cover I want in my collection. And then my worst cover of the week for Wonder Woman is without a doubt the A cover. Again, I just feel like out of all the covers and variants, it's the most just basic and plain and simple there is. You could have got a little bit more pizzazz from it, but I think all the other covers stand out compared to this one. So I think that out of this, it was no brainer to have this be the worst cover for this book. Up next, we have Superman 24. Of course, we have our A cover, our David Nakayama B cover. We have a C cover and a Rafael Grassetti variant at the D cover. And then we have the Leonardo Romero courtside variants. And then our incentives, we have this 1 in 25 Fernando Passarin variant. This this variant is very wonky. Look at the derp face on Superboy here. It looks like, Supergirl is trying to suck a fart out of Superboy's butt. It's just a weird cover, man. Of course, my pick for best of the week is this Rafael Grassetti variant. It's very Henry Cavill-esque looking Superman. Superman's looking chiseled in space. I just feel like it embodies everything that we've come to know and expect from a Superman cover. It's got the classic red trunks. It kind of reminds me a little bit of David Cornsweat's Superman outfit with the Henry Cavill feel to it. So out of everything, I feel like it was the strongest representation of what best cover for this book. And then we have Superman. This 1 in 25 is my worst cover. This Fernando Parsons variant, or Passarin variant. again, like I said, it just the derp face on Superboy, and then you have, you know, Supergirl back here looking like she's stuck in a fart midair. It's just not, and this doesn't even look like Superman. Like, who made Glenn Powell Superman? You know what I'm saying? But this is just, I respect the hustle of the artist, but I just feel like this wasn't a cover that's hitting this week. Up next, we have Absolute Martian Manhunter #1. We have our A cover. We have our merch variant for a B cover. We have a Marcos Martin C cover, and this Raphael Albuquerque connecting D variant. We also have a Javier Rodriguez foil virgin variant, a logo design foil virgin variant, which is the F cover, a blank variant, of course, and then we have a secret cover. It's a Diamond UK variant, Fabrizio de Tommaso Diamond UK variant. Then we have a couple of incentive covers. We have that 1 in 5 Fabrizio de Tommaso Diamond UK full bleed virgin variant. We have a 1 in 25 David Aja variant. We have a 1 in 50 Daniel Warren Johnson eye cover variant. And then we have this 1 in 100 Javier Rodriguez black and white virgin variant. For this book, my best and worst cover, my best cover goes to this Gilliam March variant. I love the use of color. I love the just wonkiness of the Martian Manhunter. I love the silhouette. I just really enjoy this cover. I feel like this cover pops. And if you're going through books and you see this cover, it's going to make you stop and go, oh man, check that out. So I think that is well deserving of the best cover of the week title, in my opinion. And then my worst cover of the week goes to this logo design foil virgin variant, just because I feel like it's very simple compared to all the other covers. And it's just one of those covers, even though it's like that stained glass feel to it, it just doesn't stand out amongst the other covers that are available for you to choose from on this book. Up next, we have Justice League Unlimited #5. We have the A cover. We have this Nathan Zerdy variant for a B cover. Mark Spears. Everyone's going crazy for Mark Spears right now. Mark Spears is everywhere. Mark Spears' Monsters is selling like hotcakes. Mark Spears has been on Renovision and some of the other channels around YouTube in the comic book community as well. It's great to see that he's making those rounds in those channels and has done great interviews with all of them. And then, of course, we have a Salvador Larocco D variant here, which is really cool too. We have a Jenny Frison International Women's Day variant. A lot of these DC books have these Jenny Frison International Women's Day variants. Of course, I'm a huge Frison fan. Love her work. Then we have a few incentives here. We have a 1 in 25 Dan Jurgens variant and a 1 in 50 Gavin Gertie variant. Or Gerdre variant, however you want to pronounce it. For this one, my best went to this Nathan Zerdy variant. I love the use of kind of an old school Hawk Girl feel, and kind of gives you that, you know, pinup feel back to back with Zatanna. You can't go wrong with those two on a cover. I feel like it really stands out among the crowd. And then, of course, my worst cover of the week goes to this 1 in 50 Gavin Gertie variant, just because I feel like it's very simple compared to everything else. And, you know, I don't know. I like detail in my faces. Like, I'm a huge statue collector, and like the detail in the face is a big thing to me. And I just feel like this doesn't give me Superman vibes in the face. There's just not a lot of detail. It's very simple compared to all the other covers that are available on this book. Up next, we have Wonder Woman 19. We have our A cover, our David Nakayama B cover. Everyone's a David Nakayama fan, right? We have the Sebastian Fumarera variant, a Nicola Scott courtside variant here for the D cover. Then our incentive cover is this 1 in 25 Roman Perez variant. And my best cover of the week goes to the David Nakayama, because, you know, David Nakayama kills all his covers. I really like everything he's doing, everything that's going on in this cover. There's nothing really to complain with here. And then my worst cover of the week goes to this 1 in 25 Roman Perez variant. This is a 1 in 25. Like I said, I'm very hard on the face. the proportions and dimensions of the face don't look right. It's very narrow, almost like Dragon Ballish or anime-ish, if you will. I just feel like it's not as, spectacular, and it shouldn't be a 1 in 25. If we go back and I was to pick a 1 in 25 cover, I mean, I think that David Nakayama makes a better 1 in 25 than what this cover is. I don't think that's any fault of the artist. I think DC picks who gets on the ratio variants, and I just feel like for a 1 in 25 ratio and you're paying a premium on it, that this cover was not the best choice. But I'm not an artist. I still respect all the artist game. I'm just giving my opinions here, and to me, I don't think that this was 1 in 25 material. Moving on to Green Lantern 21, we have an A cover here. We have a Ken Lashley variant for a B cover, and then we have a C Laura Braga variant. And then, of course, we have a Green Lantern Incentive 1 in 25 Mark Spears variant. Now, that's a good 1 in 25 right there. So my best cover of the week goes to this 1 in 25 Mark Spears Green Lantern 21, the D cover. This cover is amazing. I like the use of his style on Green Lantern. I love the proportion in how, he's actually got the anatomy correct in the young woman in the lower corner, the car here. Look at the detail in this elephant and how it looks like it's being projected, and there's no like confusion of what it is and how it's getting there. He did it so well that you actually get the building coming through behind it. It looks like it's projection. It's done really, really well. I can't complain at all. Chef's kiss to Mark Spears on this cover. And Laura Bragg's variant gets the worst cover of the week, but it's not really the worst cover of the week. That's the caveat, is like there wasn't a lot to pick from, because I really liked all these covers. And if we really go back to it here, I was kind of on the fence about like, well, maybe the A cover is the worst, but look at the detail in the A cover. There's so much detail there. It's really well done. The B cover, okay. The faces are a little wonky, but look at all the detail in the missiles and the projection. Like, look at the projection done on this B cover compared to what Mark Spears is doing with that elephant, and just the level up that cover has. And then I just feel like out of your choices, this cover was, the Bragg's cover was the weakest of the 4 covers, but by no means is it a terrible cover. It's just getting that worst cover of the week by default because of the other options that are there. Now I'm just noticing as I look at it, kind of the space and Hal Jordan's clothes right there. You kind of see the stars in the background. That's cool. This gets us by default. I in no way, shape, or form think this is one of the worst covers of the week. But as far as the Green Lantern title goes, I feel like it is the weakest of your 4 options. Next up, we have Harley Quinn 49. We got our A cover here. We have another David Nakayama B cover. We have this George Fornes variant. I love that. Like, Harley Quinn just getting punched in the face and losing some teeth. And then we have this Derek Chu courtside variant here, very anime feeling. And then we also have this, I didn't change that. Whoops. We have this Harley Quinn 49 incentive cover, which is a 1 in 25 Makara Adolfo variant. I like the play on, giving into the 9.8 boys that search to the 9.8, where she's like, oopsie, this is not going to be a 9.8, and she's ripping the cover. That's cool. But I gave the best cover to the week for Harley Quinn 49 to this Derek Chu courtside variant, just because I feel like out of all the courtside variants, this is the best one done. I like the anime feel to it, like you're watching a basketball anime. I like the manga style background. I feel like a lot of time went into this, and it turned out really spectacularly. I would give it to the David Nakayama or the Fornes cover, because I both think those are both solid options as well. But I just feel like this stepped out a little bit just for the manga background, and it's kind of a little something different. And then my worst cover of the week again is this Adolfo variant. I don't think this should be a ratio 1 in 25. I give it that knockdown just because it's not, in my opinion, ratio material. That's nothing against the artist. I think it's a fine cover, but I feel like you could have probably put the David Nakayama or this Fornes cover as a 1 in 25 over the Adolfo. Again, no knock against the artist. It is a good cover, but I just feel like it gets that knocked down as worst cover league just because DC did put it out as a ratio where it should not have been. And again, I have to pick, if the offering's there, I have to pick one of the books to be worst that I don't like as much as some of the others. And I just felt like this was it. It could have been the A cover as well. I don't think the A cover is that great compared to everything else, but it's the fact that that's a ratio just kind of knocks it down for me a little bit. I know it's a dumb reason, but it is what it is. All right, moving on to Marvel here. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree with my best or worst covers or disagree. Remember, anything with comics is subjective, so this is just my opinion and what I think, in my opinion, the worst covers of the week. If you like something that I didn't pick, let me know. Let's open a discussion. That's what this community is about. It's about discussion and dialogue and not drama. So let's keep it clean in the comment section. Let's have a good time and let me know what you think, if you agree or disagree with my worst cover or best or worst covers of the week for our DC offering. So now we move on to Marvel here. We have Ultimate Spider-Man 15. Of course, we have our standard A cover. Then we have the Sandoval Ultimate Special Variant B cover. We have this Marco Chicharito variant for the C cover. And then we have this Rain Gonzalez variant here at the D cover. Again, sorry if I butchered your names. I'm not great with name pronunciation. Then we have this 1 in 50, or sorry, this 1 in 25 Simon Bacchini, Simone Bacchini variant. Of course, my best cover of the week goes to the Marco Chicharito variant. Very reminiscent of the covers from the first issue. I love the Spider-Man here. I love Marco's Spider-Man. I think this artist does a great job drawing Spider-Man, and I think the cover works really, really well. Worst cover of the week is this 25 1 in 25 Bacchini cover. I mean, where do I start? The background's cool. I like the Dr. Gino up here in the corner, but the proportions are way off. Look at this thigh. I mean, look at these feet. It looks like he went to the Rob Liefeld School of Feet Drawing. I know it's probably supposed to be abstract and in an interpretation, but there's a question when it comes to Marvel. Like, if you hear any comic book retailer tell you about store variants or anything like that and how things get handled, is that they're presented the piece of artwork from the artist and they can go back and ask them to make changes. So I'm assuming Marvel and DC and any of these other publishers can do the same. And why wouldn't you ask for changes to be made on this? I think the potential for this to be an amazing cover is there. It's just the wonky proportions of Spider-Man, and it doesn't even really look like Spider-Man. I think that Marvel should have pushed back on the artist and got them to clean up the Spider-Man a little bit more, let alone putting it on a ratio. So it is what it is. Maybe they wanted it to be a little bit more abstract and stand out from the other options and kind of give you a unique take on the character from this artist. But again, 1 in 25, I don't think this should have been a ratio, and I'm definitely not going to pay ratio price for this cover. Next up, we have Amazing Spider-Man 70. We're coming to the end of this 8 Deaths of Spider-Man and getting ready to relaunch into a new Spider-Man #1. But first, we have Spider-Man 70, the Amazing Spider-Knot. We got an A cover there. We got a B, Scott Young, 8 Deaths of Spider-Man variant. It's a pretty funny cover here where he's drawing all these different ways to kill Spider-Man and things like that. Then we got this Peach Momoko kimono variant. I don't like these kimono variants. I feel like these kimono variants are very basic and real quick, and I feel like the case for that is because she's got one for like every single book. So I think Marvel is just really overloading her and has been overloading her for years, not to mention doing these covers plus her duties on her run on Ultimate X-Men. I just think maybe she's overworked and these are just kind of quick throw togethers, but I'm not a fan of the simplicity of any of these kimono covers, but maybe that's just me. I mean, who am I? I'm just a peasant when it comes to the art game, but they just don't catch my eye and make me go, ooh, I want this. It's kind of like, that's one I'm going to leave on the shelf. Then we got Amazing Spider-Man D, the Brent Schoenauer April Fool's Day cover very much that Amazing Fantasy 15 homage there, just with Deadpool swinging through, saving Spider-Man instead of Spider-Man swinging through and saving a citizen. Then we also have our NetEase Games Marvel Rivals wraparound variant. Very cool looking variant there. We have this Iban Colio Foreshadow variant there, as we're getting a look at Hobgoblin and Spidey fighting. This is a great cover, but this foot right here kind of turned my eye off to a little bit. I know I'm nitpicking. And then we got our Frank Miller variant, our G cover. I don't want to say great offering from Frank Miller, but it's just I love Frank Miller's stuff, but there's a time and a place for you to call it quits. And let's just say his offerings as of late haven't been great. Then we have our Amazing Spider-Man 70 incentive covers. We have this 125 Bjorn Barnendez variant. I'm so butchering these names. I apologize. We have a 1/100 Scotty Young black and white 8-dested Spider-Man Virgin variant. And then, of course, we have a 1/100 Frank Miller Virgin variant as well. My best cover of the week is this Bjorn Barnendez cover. I feel like it's so well done. It's so different from everything else, other offering from it. I love almost the photo reel. It kind of reminds me of like an action figure pose cover a little bit. I really enjoy this cover. And then, of course, again, my worst cover of the week for this week for the Amazing Spider-Man 70 is this 1/100 Frank Miller. I mean, look at this arm right here, people. This arm looks like a foot. It even looks like where the part of the building is that it's got a high heel on. This arm kind of just fades into the thigh of this leg, and the foot comes out and looks almost like a gorilla's foot. Like, you can't really differentiate the hand from the foot in this one, and it looks like this foot's kind of melting. Frank Miller is an icon. He's a legend, but he's also up there in age, and it's probably time for Marvel to, quit asking for variants and everything, because they haven't been good. A lot of them have been very similar. They're just not up to the quality of Frank Miller that we all used to know and love, but he still has his audience, so they still sell. So Marvel's still going to continue to ask him to do it, but his style and what he's offering is just not my cup of tea anymore. Up next, we have Uncanny X-Men 12. We have our A cover here. We have a Peach Momoko kimono variant. Like I said, very plain, very basic Peach Momoko here. We have this Chad Harden April Fool's Day wraparound cover. We have the D cover here. And then, of course, we have an E cover, the Clarky variant. And then we have a 1/50 Vachicino Jitter Virgin variant here. This Clarky variant is my best of the week. I really like the way the Gambit looks. I like the detail in it of him charging the card and getting ready to throw them. It's just classic Gambit. It has everything you could ask for as a Gambit fan, although the light here does kind of wash out his leg where it almost looks like he's disappearing. But I feel like this is the best offering of the covers in this Gambit series for this week. And my worst cover goes to the Peach Momoko variant. Again, like I said, these kimono variants I don't feel like are necessary. And Peach Momoko has, when she hits, and when she misses, she misses. And I feel like this is a miss, although a lot of these kimono variants are a miss. And it's only for the fact that I feel like Marvel is really overworking her. And like I said, she's got one of these kimono variants for almost every release that's coming out. So I feel like these kimono variants could be a lot better. But again, she's probably being inundated with them. So it's a little bit of a, time thing. So she's probably going to try to make them as simple as she can. Moving on to Fantastic Four number 30. We have this A cover. We have this Fantastic Four What If Disney B cover. We have a Peach Momoko, again, kimono variant C cover. See what I mean? She's got like a cover on everything, one of these kimono covers. An In-Hawk Lee D cover, which is really nice. I really like this In-Hawk Lee. I love the detail in Johnny Storm back here. Reed Richards' face is a little wonky to me. I understand that he is Mr. Fantastic. He's the Elastic Man. So it makes sense that his face is a little bit stretched, but I do really enjoy this cover and especially the detail on the thing. We also get a spoiler variant. I was not able to find any pictures of the spoiler variant. I do apologize, but there will be a spoiler variant on shelves tomorrow when you go into your comic book stores for New Comic Book Day. And then we have this Dyke Ruin foil variant here that I think is really, really cool. And then, of course, we have our incentives. We have a 1 in 25 Rod Reese variant, and then a 1 in 100 Disney What If black and white. My best cover of the week goes to this Dyke Ruin foil variant. Who doesn't love a good Doom cover? I feel like Doom is the hot commodity right now as we're working our way up to the release of the Fantastic Four First Steps, as well as Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. Doom has been the talk of the town, the talk of the internet, and I feel like these Doom covers are great. I love the use of his armor, how he's kind of like de-transforming or, curing Ben Grimm in a lot of ways. I like the use of different greens here, the shadowing. I feel like this is all around just a great offering as far as the cover goes for this book. And then we have, of course, again, Peach Momoko Kimono variant. Compared to all the other covers in this book, very simple, very quick, not very complex. I do like the use of her invisibility powder to kind of like show it through her eye and stuff, and the Fantastic Four and the kimono. But like I said, it feels very rushed, to not be a broken record, but it feels very rushed and reused because she's doing so many of these. Very simple. Then we get to Rogue, the Savage Lands #3. We have our A cover. Of course, we have the comparable J. Scott Campbell variant on the B cover. We have a beautiful Greg Land cover for our C cover here with all the like raptors and T-Rexes and stuff. Then we have this Lucas Warnick D cover. Then we have a PP Larraza variant, a 1 in 25 for our incentives. Then we have a 1 in 100 J. Scott Campbell Virgin. And for me, the Lucas Warnick variant is my best cover of the week. I love the detail in this. It almost feels very classic 90s X-Men, 90s Rogue. I love just the use of the color in it and how the shading works and how you have the sun reflecting off her hair really well. I feel like this is overall the best cover and the best offering for this book this week. And I love the detail as far as the shadow goes in her skin and on her clothes from the trees and all that. I feel like this is a very, very eye-catching piece that would look good in anyone's collection. And then the A cover on this one is my weakest of the week because, you have Magneto in it and Rogue is trying to break them up, but her face is very wonky. I feel like it's a traditional A cover, I feel, but I feel like if you go back and you look at the offerings of the J. Scott Campbell, the Greg Land, the Warnick, and the incentives, it to me just was the weakest cover available to choose from on this book. So it made sense to be the worst cover of this week. And again, this is not in any way to knock these artists or their skills or anything like that, because I am not an artist. This is just simply me telling you what I feel like the best cover of the week for these particular books are, and what I feel like isn't the strongest cover or is the weakest cover of the week, to kind of give you that look at, whatever you want to pick through in your collection. Then we got Godzilla versus Fantastic Four #1, this one shot. We have our A cover. We have a Lee Garbett version versus variant here, which is kind of giving that old like big fight feel poster to it. Then we have this Bradshaw Monsters homage variant, a C cover, a James Herron Godzilla King of Monsters homage variant for your D cover. And we're moving on. We have a Franciscus U wraparound variant for the E cover, a Peach Momoko F variant, a Scotty Young G variant, a Mark Bagley foil variant for your H cover, which is a nice cover. And then we have our incentives is an Iban Colo variant for the I cover. I love the reflection of the Fantastic Four and Godzilla's eye. I think that's really cool. And then we have a 1 in 100 Peach Momoko Virgin variant. And my best cover of the week for this week on this one goes to that 1 in 100 Peach Momoko variant. I feel like this is a strong showing for Peach. This is not a simple cover. It's very detailed. It's very well done. I love the use of almost watercolor-esque feel in the background for space and the night sky. I like the Fantastic Four being depicted in different ways. Like I'm cool with the way she depicted Reed Richards in this, kind of using his powers. And I think it's kind of funny, the Thing just riding on Sue Storm's force field and Johnny Storm coming across Godzilla's face. I feel like this is a really well done Godzilla. There's probably not a better artist to ask to do a Godzilla cover than Peach Momoko, and I feel like she knocked it out of the park here on this one. And of course, my worst cover of the week, and one I felt like wasn't as strong as this James Herron Godzilla King of the Monsters homage variant. I understand doing an homage variant, but I don't want it to look so much like the previous cover. I want a little bit more detail in it. I want it to kind of like step it up and be an homage, but kind of have a fresh take and offering to it. And I feel like this does not land, especially with how simple and like Reed Richards looks here. It just, to me, was not a standout cover offering for this book. Then we have Doom's Division number 1. We have our A cover. We have the Dustin Nijin team up variant. We have that NetEase Game Marvel Rivals variant. Then we have a Peach Momoko D cover. Again, I feel like this is a good Momoko, or at least a decent offering compared to the kimono variants that we're getting. We also have this E cover, and then a Rose Besh White Fox variant. And we also have our incentives. We have a Franny variant, 1 in 25 Franny variant, a 1 in 50 Peach Momoko Virgin variant. Again, I don't feel like this cover is warranted enough to be a 1 in 50, whether it's a Virgin or not. And then we have the 1 in 100 Rose Besh White Fox Virgin variant. There, is that a 1 in 100? I don't think so, but again, that's just my opinion. My best cover of the week goes to this NetEase Games Marvel Rivals variant. I like the simplicity of it, but it still is very detailed and stands out in its own way. I really think this is a eye-catching book. Very quick, very simple, but still very detailed in the same way, if that makes sense. And then we have our the worst cover of the week is this Nijin team up variant. For me, everything is great up to the face. It's like Elmer Fudd it's like they drew Elmer Fudd's face on this character, and it just, to me, it's not a book that I would want to put on my wall or have in my collection, just because that face really bothers me. But everything else in it is very nice and looks great, but it's got that kind of Elmer Fudd face, I guess we'll call it. And that's moving into our Independence Image IDW Dark Horse. You get the idea. And we have our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles X Naruto 3 as our first offering from our Independence. We have an A cover. We have a B variant, a Ba C variant, an Ethan Young D variant. Then we have our incentives covers. We have a Felipe Smith 1 in 25, a 1 in 50 Randolph variant, a 1 in 75 Ricardo Lopez Ortiz variant, and the G cover, and this 1 in 100 Patrick Gleason H cover. My best cover of the week, of course, goes to this 1 in 100 Patrick Gleason variant. I feel like this is the best offering from these covers. That is 1 in 100 material. I would pay ratio or below ratio. I think this book's going for like $50 from what I've seen so far, so it's under ratio, but this 1 in 100 is very well done. I love the use of color on it. I love the way he made Shredder's armor look. I love how detailed Naruto is. I love how Naruto's got that kunai ready to stab Shredder as Shredder's got him pinned. I think this is a perfect offering. This is a perfect representation of what a 1 in 100 should look like. I love the different uses of the pinks and purples and greens and blues to kind of almost give it like that neon, feel to this cover. Very good book, very good offering. I can't wait to pick this up. And then this 1 in 75 Ricardo Lopez Ortiz variant, it's very busy. It feels like there's a lot going on. There's not a lot that catches your eye. For me, what catches my eye is Sasuke's face and how he's got fangs, and he's like in this like animalistic mode, and he kind of got the frog being summoned in the background as he's doing the Chidori. And Leonardo kind of gripping down like he's about to drop a deuce. There's so much going on here. It just feels overwhelming and very busy, and there's not one thing that really catches your eye. Your eye kind of wanders all over the place. So I just feel like it could use a little bit of tone down. I have a feeling this is probably gonna be a connecting cover by just the way you still got someone's weird foot here. So overall, maybe once it's done, it might be better. But for this to be a 1 in 75 and how busy it is, it just to me wasn't speaking to me, and I felt like it was kind of the weakest offering of all the covers. And then we're getting into, my God, how many covers are on Thundercats? Like, I got through half of Thundercats, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and go through every single one of these independent books because there's just so many covers on these things. And Thundercats, case in point, and a lot of them are repeats in the same. They use the same art to make it either a virgin, foil, gold foil, whatever it is. So you'll see as we go through this, we have this A cover here, which is a nice offering. We have the Shelby B variant. We have a J Lee variant for C cover and a D cover here. Then we have a Barrera variant. It feels very Adventure Timey to me. Then we have this Drew Moss action figure variant. We have a G. A G is the Parello foil variant of the A cover. Then we also have an H cover, which is a foil virgin variant of the A cover. Then we have an I cover, which is a foil version of that Barrera cover. Then we have a J, which is a foil virgin variant of the Barrera cover. Then a K, which is a metal virgin variant of the A cover. And then an L, which is a virgin variant of the A cover. And then we get into the Mark Spears offering here. We have an M cover, which is a Mark Spears variant. Then we have the Mark Spears red background variant and an N. Then a Mark Spears foil variant for an O, and a Mark Spears foil virgin variant for a P. And then we have a 1 in 10 Drew Moss action figure variant, virgin variant. Then we have a 1 in 10 J Lee foil variant, a 1 in 10 Parella black and white variant, a 1 in 15 J Lee foil virgin variant. We have the 1 in 15 Barrera virgin variant, a Massaferrara virgin, a Felipe Massaferrara virgin variant, a 125 Perillo black and white virgin variant, a 125 J Lee virgin variant for an X cover. We have a cover for every letter of the alphabet and then some. We have a 1 in 25 Delkin Shelby virgin variant, a 1 in 7 Mark Spears purple background variant. We have a 1 in 7 Mark Spears red background foil variant. Then we have a 1 in 10 Mark Spears purple background foil virgin variant. That's a mouthful. Oh, that's not done. In case we need this in some incentives, we have a 1 in 10 Felipe Massaferrara foil variant, a 1 in 10 Mark Spears virgin variant, and then a 1 in 15 Massaferrara foil virgin variant. Again, Mark Spears is a great artist, but I don't need like 15 different options from him. Give me one, give me a variant, give me one, a virgin variant or foil, whatever, but I don't need 15 of the same cover from Mark Spears. He's going to saturate his market very quickly. I love his art so much. I think he does so good. I think the only piece of his that I've had any criticism for is his Lion-O. It just felt like it was Mel Gibson in cosplay to me, but I digress. Everything else he's done has been fantastic, and I love his art, but I don't feel like you need it. Just feels like a massive cash grab to have like 15 different covers of the same thing, just colored differently or shaded differently, or with the Thundercats logo or whatever the case may be. But this my best cover for this week is the Perillo virgin variant. I like the detail in it. Lion-O punching dude in the face. I just like the way it looks. I feel like it could look like a good piece on your wall. And like I said, I had so many of the same covers to pick from in this series that it really just came down to a coin flip on this. And then I felt like the Barrera variant was the worst of the week. I love Adventure Time, but I feel like this cover is the weakest offering. I'm not a big fan of this artist's art. And I just feel like it's the weakest offering for this book. It's too wonky for my taste. It's one that I would probably leave on the shelf. Then we have Power Rangers Prime number 5. We have the A cover. We have a Stefano Simons B cover. We have a Montez Anniversary variant, a Bon Bernardo foil virgin variant. We have our Andre Mock FOC reveal variant. And we have our Power Rangers Prime incentive covers. We have a 1 in 10 Stefano Simons virgin variant, a 1 in 15 Kayla Valerizo variant. Again, I'm sorry for butchering your name. A Montez anniversary, 1 in 20, and then a Dan Mora foil variant for the eye cover. And then, of course, we have our incentives, which is a 1 in 40 Don Aguilera virgin variant, and then the 1 per store Dan Mora virgin variant. My best cover of the week is this Born Bernardo foil variant. I'm a classic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers fan. I grew up on the OG Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so to have this classic, just, easy yellow background with the Power Rangers Lightning Bolt and Trini coming out of it is perfection for me. A book that I feel like would be classic in any Power Rangers collection or collector's collection. And it just kind of stands out. Very simple, but yet sometimes simplicity isn't bad. I know I complained about the simplicity of the Peach Momoko kimono variants, but sometimes simplicity isn't bad. And I really like the simplicity and detail in this book. On this cover. And then for me, the Valerio Virgin variant at 1 in 15 is just kind of the weakest for me. It's because I'm not really sure what's going on here. Like, is it supposed to be a Ranger transforming? Why, it just, I don't know. I'm a little bit confused by what I'm looking at here. And so it didn't really stand out to me as eye-catching compared to a lot of the other covers. A lot of the other covers, you know exactly what you're getting. This one, you're kind of like, I don't know what this is. So I'm just going to leave it on the back burner. And granted, I haven't followed the Power Rangers comic book series in a long time, so you all might not know, you might know who this character is and not agree with me as far as my best and worst decisions. But to me, I felt like this was probably the weakest offering on this cover. And then we have Terminator number 6. Again, another one of those books that has a massive amount of covers with the same covers, just virgin, trade dress, foil, whatever it is. We have this A cover. Then we have this Edwin Gallman B cover, this Cat Stags C cover, which I think is a beautiful cover, by the way. This David Cozen D cover. Then again, we have the Shelby E foil variant, and the F is a Shelby foil virgin variant. And then we have the Shelby metal virgin variant. Then we have this Alex Ross Burning Earth icon variant. My best cover of the week does go to that Alex Ross Burning Earth icon variant. I love the use of the skulls in the background. Very much feels like some artwork you'd see in like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark if you read that book as a kid. But I love the detail in the Terminator here. I love the way he made the body shine and then kind of rain just bouncing off of it. I really think this is a really well detailed Alex Ross cover. And of course, anything in his is a beautiful cover that you could display as an art piece, let alone a comic book. And then my worst cover of the week for this series is this David Cozen or Cousins variant. I feel like it's just kind of all over the place, and compared to the other offerings, it's just not as strong. Not to mention, it looks like he's got, I know it's a piston in his leg, but the way it looks like he's like got a piston in his junk. And to me, it's just not one of the better covers on this book this week. And now for my honorable mentions. These are covers that could be best or worst for series that I felt like had a really strong cover, but their pool wasn't a lot to choose from. So I just gave them some honorable mentions. My honorable mention number 1 goes to the Flash 19, the Steven Segovia variant. I love the detail in it, the use of the Speed Force, the use of the color. It is a very beautiful cover, one that I think any Flash fan would be proud to have in their collection. For worst covers, I have Incredible Hulk 23, this Artia variant. I don't like the way the Hulk looks like Glenn Danzig. It just bothers me. I don't like the way that Hulk looks like he's got fur. It's just, and it looks like he's smelling a fart in the air. It just is not one that speaks out to me, and I don't, I understand it makes it look like he's covered in hair, but it looks like fur, and it looks like the same furs on his shorts. There's not a lot of contrast and differentiation between the work on his shorts and his skin, so it's just one of those books that did not scream out to me. Next up, we have this Laura Kinney Wolverine 1 in 100 Jaeyoung Lee X23 Virgin variant. Again, a beautiful representation of a 1 in 100. I believe there's also a trade dress to this. Yeah, I get people are like, well, she looks like she has 3 fingers in her hand now. Her 4th finger is under that claw there. But again, I feel like this is a beautiful cover, and this is one that I will definitely be adding to my collection, but probably the trade dress and not the 1 in 100, as I don't have the funds to drop on a 1 in 100 like that. Then the worst cover contribution comes from the cover B for Power Girl 19 from the David Talaski variant. Again, it's hard to ruin a Power Girl, especially the boob window, and I kind of feel like that is ruined. And this cover just comes out not looking great. And her face, Dom said on SNS that it gives this very Kato Kaelin vibe, and we pulled it up. And if you know, Kato Kaelin was a person from the old OJ trial in the 90s, and it kind of gives that Kato Kaelin face vibe, and I very much agree with him on that. And you know, it's just for a Power Girl cover, I feel like it's a miss, and that's again my opinion on it, but I just can't get past the Kato Kaelin face. Best cover of the week, again, we have a Vampirella #1 20 copy Spears Virgin cover. I love this cover. All of his covers for Vampirella, absolutely love them. There's so many of them there that I just picked one that I like the most, and I like the use of kind of the darker greens, almost turquoise in this, with how the red of her outfit pops, and the white, and her lipstick, and everything just pops so well with the lightning effect in the background and the fog. I feel like this is a beautiful piece and a beautiful contribution from Mark Spears. I love it. I love all his, like I said, most of his stuff. And I love his Vampirella covers, but this one just caught my eye the most. I was like, damn, I really, really want that. And then another contribution for worst cover of the week, we have this Jay Gonzo variant from Daredevil 19. I do kind of like the marionette puppet aspect of Bullseye, and I'm assuming is Matt Murdock here. The wolf looks really cool, or if that's not a wolf, whatever that is, it's the Daredevil that doesn't do it for me. Like, he's short and stocky. It looks like Danny DeVito. You know, it looks like his body, his lower half is very elongated, and then he's very crunched up and compact up top. I don't feel like it's a great contribution to this book, but that's, again, my opinion. Otherwise, it's not a cover that I think on this Daredevil book I would pick up. And then we have our best cover of the week, this Hello Darkness 9, the Del Mundo cover. I love this cover. I am not reading this book, but it makes me want to pick it up just for this cover. I love the representation of the old cassette tape to it, with all the stuff sprawling out and the side A and B, Hello Darkness written on it. I feel like this is an amazing cover, an amazing job by this artist, a great cover for a comic book, and I can't wait to have this in my collection. And then we have the Dan Panozin variant on Peacemaker presents Vigilante and Eagly double feature. I just think this is a great cover that, you know, sparks patriotism, embodies everything that Peacemaker is. And of course, who doesn't love Eagly, right? If you watch the Peacemaker show, how can you not like Eagly there with his flight safety instructions? I think it's a beautiful picture behind an American flag. It just screams patriotism, and I really enjoy it and think it's a fantastic offer, and really, personifies everything we come to know about Peacemaker. And for covers of the week, there's so many Scotty Young covers this week that I felt like maybe I'd give Scotty Young his own section. So we have the Amazing Spider-Man 70, which we saw already. I just think this is a funny Scotty Young cover with him drawn. You know, he drew himself drawing all these different Spider-Mans and different ways to kill him. I just thought that was a fun Scotty Young cover that I think would be a perfect addition to any Scotty Young collector's collection. Then we have this fantastic 4-1 Scotty Young cover. I love little thing cosplaying as Godzilla here, while Johnny Blaze is like, bro, it's versus Godzilla, not dress up as, and things like that does make more sense. So I just think it's a funny little cover, and I love Scotty's use of his humor in some of these covers. Then we have the Universal Monsters, The Mummy #1 offering from that book. This is a Skottie Young store exclusive, so you do have to get it from his website. But again, it's a fun Skottie Young cover. And then again, we have We're Taking Everyone Down With Us #1 from Image Comics, which is another Skottie Young store exclusive. But I feel like it's one of the better offerings for this title. And I'm not sure that there's enough interest for me to pick up this title, but let me know if you're going to read We're Taking Everyone Down With Us. But I think that's it. That'll do it for the best and worst covers of the week segment #1. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you agree? Do you disagree with my cover selections? Let me know what covers you like. Let me know what you're picking up in the shop this week and what covers that caught your eye that maybe I didn't pick. Or if you disagree with me, let me know. Again, keep it friendly, keep it nice, keep it polite. This is an open discussion. We're not here to start drama. We are here to have dialogue as comic book fans. And what if not, anything is the perfect debate issue for a comic book fan than cover art or interior art in general. It's what makes the comic books stand out and so great. So I welcome that in the comment section below. Let me know what you're picking up this week. And until next time, make sure to like that button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn that notification bell on so you know whenever we drop anything across this channel. And we'll see you guys in the next one.